Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about my 6 golden rules for managing and recovering from chronic fatigue syndrome. These are the main things that I have practiced over the years, and I am now, I would say, almost fully recovered. So, rule number 1. I cannot stress this enough. Start listening to your body. I want to put that in capital letters. Start listening to your body. I think there a lot of the problems that happen with developing chronic fatigue syndrome is that we push ourselves too hard. We don't listen to what's happening in our body. We're not properly engaged with our body, and we push too hard when our body wants to rest. Most people, I believe, with chronic fatigue syndrome are type A, ambitious, hardworking, and these are the types of people do tend not to listen to what their body's trying to tell them, and that's when you can start to develop chronic fatigue. And when you have chronic fatigue, if you push too much and you don't listen to your body, you are going to crash. So that is my number one thing. Start listening to your body and start looking after your body. And if your body's telling you to rest, you need to rest. Number 2, pace yourself. You need to learn to pace yourself. And what does that mean? That means taking breaks when you need it. It's a different thing for different people. We all have varying degrees of chronic fatigue syndrome, and we all have different severities and different symptoms. So you need to work out what this means for you. For me, it just means taking breaks regularly, and I go to bed relatively early. And it goes along with the first rule of listen to your body. So you need to make sure that if your body's telling you to rest, then you take a rest. 3, do not, that's in big capital letters too, do not rely on sugary treats to give you an energy boost. I've heard people say this on forums and Facebook groups, that they eat chocolate to try and give them an energy boost. But honestly, you don't want to be relying on sugary things to give you an energy boost, because actually in the long term it will have the opposite effect. If you're eating lots of sugar thinking that's going to make you feel more energetic, stop doing that, because what it does, it gives you blood sugar spikes, which may make you feel like you've got a little energy burst, but it will deplete you later on and make your chronic fatigue worse. Now, I am not saying give up sugar altogether, although that is also a really good idea, and I know people do that, but I have to be really honest and say I haven't completely ruled out sugar altogether, but I do try not to use sugar as much as possible and use sugar alternatives as much as possible. I've quite radically reduced the amount of sugar I have in my diet. Honestly, it does not help chronic fatigue syndrome. So please do not do that. My 4th golden rule is get into a regular practice of meditation and or deep relaxation. These are going to really, really help with managing chronic fatigue symptoms. Find guided meditations and relaxations on the internet. There are absolutely loads of them now. When I first had chronic fatigue syndrome, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have all these things. So it is an absolute boon now that we have so much at our fingertips to help us. So do use these guided meditations and relaxations that can be healing and just relaxing and take your mind off the stresses of the day. Find a way of getting in a regular practice of I really do recommend meditation, but if that doesn't work for you, then at least do some deep relaxation every day. Rule number 5. You need to exercise. Now, it's a big controversial subject. If you are absolutely unable to function at all, then you shouldn't exercise to start with. You need to only do at first what you can manage. But exercise is important, but you need to start with very, very, very low levels of exercise. So depending on your severity, it might be just getting out of bed and walking to the door and back every day. Or it might be walking to the front door, or it might be walking to the nearest lamppost, or it might be walking for 5 minutes. Whatever level you feel you can do, then start at a lower level and only increase the amount of exercise weekly in very, very small amounts. You'll be amazed. Actually, it sounds like it's going to take forever to get into any good exercise, but you'd be surprised at how quickly actually that builds up. And sometimes you'll do a little bit too much and you'll crash. That's absolutely normal. Just rest for a few days and then start at a lower level. And you can also start to introduce gentle stretching exercises. Like I do yoga every morning and I absolutely love it, but I don't do really, really long sessions. I do a few minutes every day, gentle sessions. You can get loads of yoga apps now that will guide you through a yoga session. But make sure you do really, really gentle ones like restorative yoga or yin yoga, probably the best to start with. And my 6th golden rule for dealing with chronic fatigue is to learn how to deal with stress and anxiety. Now, stress and anxiety are one of the main triggers of crashes. But of course, having chronic fatigue syndrome itself can cause stress and anxiety. So it can cause a vicious cycle. So we need to learn how to deal with the stress and anxiety we have, and it's often to do with learning to live in the present, and meditation can help with that. Reading or watching spiritual teachers such as Eckhart Tolle. I absolutely love Eckhart Tolle. I listen to him every morning, so things like that can really, really help you deal if you have a lot of stress, anxiety and fear, maybe about the future, and how to manage and all that sort of thing. Learn how to deal with that. You can learn stress and anxiety. You don't have to have those symptoms. So those are my 6 golden rules for managing and recovering from chronic fatigue syndrome. And if you have any more, I would love to hear about them. So please leave any messages in the comments below or any questions. And please subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.